Hi, welcome back to Shannon's Plants Planting Time. Today we are going to talk about a beautiful plant, one that I've had to have from the first time I ever saw it, the Hoya Carnosa Compacta. This is just the regular form. I do have the variegated form also, but it's very little, so I thought I'd use this one in the video. So, today I'm going to clean it while we talk about it. All I did was tape a cotton ball on the end of a Q-tip so I have both ends, because some leaves are larger than others, and so I need to get in, and I'm going to just clean it with some neem oil, and we'll talk about it as we go along. So it is native to southern India, and it's actually an epiphyte, which means it grows on other things. And so it's used to a torrential downpour and then a drying out, and that will help you with its care later on. It produces these thick waxy flowers, and that's where it gets its name. The wax plant is from the waxy flowers, not the waxy leaves. And those waxy flowers are actually a cluster, sometimes, of flowers, and I believe they all have 5 points to them, which I thought was very unusual. But its draping vines resemble thick ropes with their crowded, contorted leaves, and that's where it gets its name, the rope part from, and of course from the fact that it's from India, it is called a Hindu rope. So let's start cleaning. As far as soil goes, it needs a very well-draining, airy, like aeroid mix. And that's because it does need to dry out fast. Hoyas do like to stay dry, a bit on the dry side, because they are used to that torrential downpour and then that drying out phase. They're more drought tolerant than some other plants, and that goes into watering. As far as watering, you do not want to water this plant until its soil is almost completely dry. Your plant will give you some telltale signs that it is thirsty. On this particular plant, these leaves, especially down starting near the bottom, will wrinkle up. They'll get a wrinkled, shriveled appearance. So you can tell then that it needs water, and then you want to water it thoroughly, and then put it up and not water it again for a minute. So anyway, as far as temperature goes, they like 60 to 75 degree temperatures because they are a tropical plant. As far as light goes, they like bright indirect light. It's pretty much as bright as you can give them. They'll take it. They love a south-facing window, but if you don't have that, which I don't, I have a north-facing window, I have them in front of a bright, high-pressure sodium grow light. And that'll come into play later on. As far as humidity, they like it around 40 to 60. They can acclimate to lower than that, but 40 to 60 is really ideal for them. I'm sorry, I have my dog in my lap. She's sick and she's just not feeling well. As far as containers, they like to be root bound. So you want to plant your Hoya in as small of a container as you can get away with, and that will come into something I'm going to talk about in a minute too. So root bound and light will come in to play in a minute. As far as growth, they are a more of a slow grower, especially the variegated one. But we can't really do anything about that, can we? It's just their normal growth rate. They kind of, like, or at least mine, it's shot out these runners and it'll get leaves along there. It also fills in, putting leaves in filling them in as they go along. First time I saw this on YouTube, I was like, what is that plant? How is it made? And until I saw mine up close, I really didn't know. And because I ordered mine by online or whatever, and it was shipped to me. Okay, so now we're going to talk about blooms. And this is one thing. My Hoyas have never bloomed for me. Not a single one of them. So I really found this interesting to see if I can get my Hoya to bloom. So one of the things we can't do anything about is the plant has to reach its mature stage before it blooms. And that's just going to be left up to the plant. There's nothing we can do about that. But there are some things we can do about. One is, remember when I told you about the bright indirect light would come into play later on? If they're not getting bright indirect light, they're not going to bloom. They may grow okay in a medium light environment or look like they're growing okay, but they're not going to bloom in a low light environment. They have to have that bright indirect light to bloom. So, and the other thing is, if you do get blooms, they come on the end of these main stalks called peduncles, and at the end, when those flowers fall off, those are perennials. So do not cut back that peduncle because it will bloom again next year. Well, my battery died. So anyway, I was talking about the peduncles. They are perennial, so if you get a peduncle and the flowers bloom and then they die, do not cut that peduncle back because the next year you will have to wait for them to form all new ones. So, remember, don't cut peduncles back. Peduncles are a good thing. And lastly, the last thing I want to talk about is there is a possible correlation between the plant being root bound and producing flowers. Now, this is not proven. It's just, I guess, something that is going around in the plant community, and I don't know if that's the plant's one last ditch effort to save itself and reproduce because it's root bound, that it produces flowers from that. But yeah, so that's when I said container size would come into play later on. And that is it as far as tips on getting your Hoya to flower, and that goes across the board for all Hoya, not just this Hoya Carnosa Compacta. Most of what I talked about goes across the board for Hoya. Just a few things and I think I said that if it would pertain just to this Hoya or not. So, And we are through with him. He is all shined up with his neem oil, and he looks good. I was really hoping that this was a peduncle. Where is it? But I don't think it is. It just looks a little bit different than these stalks. These are more pointy. Yeah, these are more pointy, and this one is more, but I don't know. I don't know, because I don't know what a peduncle looks like, because I've never had one. So, wish me luck. Wish me luck with my flowering, the flowering of my Hoyas. And wish my little doggy luck, because she doesn't feel good. She's kept mommy up all night. She's sick. She's a sick girl. But anyway, I hope to see you in the next house. Oh, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, depending on what you think. And we'll put him back in his basket. And I hope to see you in the next houseplant video. Bye.